Hello and welcome to this tutorial for Unit Standard 23136, Demonstrate Knowledge of Misleading and Deceptive Conduct and Misrepresentation for Real Estate Practice. 23136 covers consumer protection legislation that you must be conversant with if you are to stay out of trouble in your new career. But before we start, I want to explain the differences between Acts of Parliament, regulations and rules. All three are laws that everybody must abide by. In real estate, we have the Fair Trading Act and the Real Estate Agents Act that affect us the most. An Act of Parliament can only be brought into existence by a majority vote in Parliament and can only be modified in the same way. A regulation is also a law and is brought into existence under an Act of Parliament. For example, the Real Estate Audit Regulations exist because the Real Estate Agents Act specifies their existence. The difference between an act and a regulation is that a regulation can be modified by an order in council. The minister in charge of the department or industry has a meeting called an order in council with the Governor-General. The Governor-General gives permission for any changes to be made to the regulations. Rules are the third category and are usually specific to a particular industry or profession and often created because of an Act of Parliament, as are the Real Estate Agents Act, Professional Conduct and Client Care Rules 2012, commonly known as the Rules or the Code of Conduct. These rules are still effectively laws that must be adhered to in your everyday work. Changes to these rules can be made by the Real Estate Agents Authority by notification in the New Zealand Gazette, which is the official newspaper of the New Zealand Government. So let's look at the Fair Trading Act and more specifically Section 9, which covers misleading and deceptive conduct, Section 14, which covers misrepresentation in relation to land, and Section 17, offering gifts and prizes but not providing them. Section 9 covers misleading and deceptive conduct of people in trade generally. Anyone from a retailer to a developer to a real estate agent or salesperson could breach this section. It means deliberately misleading by not disclosing facts that should be disclosed. In other words, deliberately withholding information that should be passed on. Section 14 covers misrepresentations in relation to land. If we look at Section 14(1) A and B, we will see there are 7 potential breaches. Section 17 covers the offering of prizes or gifts with the intention of not providing them. Breaching the above sections has serious consequences. Fair Trading Act has 2 sections that cover the implications of breaching them. Section 40 specifies the fines a court can impose for breaches of Section 14(1) A and B and Section 17. They are $200,000 for an individual and $600,000 for a company. A fine is punishment for breaking a law. The other one is Section 43 that specifies damages a court can order, as well as other remedies such as cancelling or varying a contract. Damages are compensation awarded to a party that was wronged, and under the Fair Trading Act there is no limit on the amount that can be awarded. Damages can be applied to a breach of any of the sections of the Fair Trading Act, including a breach of Section 9. However, a breach of Section 9 does not attract a fine. A breach of Sections 14(1) A and B or Section 17 can see both fines and damages awarded. Section 14(2) deals with coercion, which is the use of force or threats, and does not attract a fine under Section 40 as it is specifically excluded, but the court can order other remedies under Section 43. This is covered in Section 2 of the Trainee Guide. Section 3, the purpose of the Real Estate Agents Act. The Real Estate Agents Act has a very similar purpose and effect to the Fair Trading Act. Section 3 of the Real Estate Agents Act states that the purpose of the Act and the Code of Conduct sets the rules for achieving this. The relevant sections of the Act are covered under Section 3 of the Trainee Guide. This purpose is achieved by regulating agents, branch managers and salespersons. As a salesperson, you'll be governed by the Real Estate Agents Act 2008 and your agency processes, raising industry standards and providing accountability through a disciplinary process that is independent, transparent and effective. You were given a copy of the Real Estate Agents Act Professional Conduct and Client Care Rules 2008 in your enrolment pack, and there was also a copy in the portal. These rules are divided into sections. See the inside cover of your Real Estate Agents Act Professional Conduct and Client Care Rules to familiarise yourself with them. This booklet and an understanding of the rules will help you immensely when completing this unit. Rules that you need to be always mindful of are rules 6.1 to 6.4. 6.1, which relates to fiduciary obligations, was covered in Unit 23135. 6.4 has similarities with Section 9 and 14 of the Fair Trading Act 1986. Other important rules are 10.7 and 10.8. Rule 10.7 outlines your disclosure obligations and is covered in Section 4 of the Trainee Guide. Another act covered by this unit is the Contractual Remedies Act 1979. This predates the Fair Trading Act and effectively allows the court to override a contract and order damages or cancellation. Section 6 covers damages for misrepresentation, and Section 7 allows for cancellation of contracts. The Contractual Remedies Act is covered in Section 5 of the Trainee Guide. Unlike the Fair Trading Act, which can only be used against people in trade, the Contractual Remedies Act is applicable in private transactions, for example, in a private house sale. Health and Safety and Employment Act 1993. Licensees have responsibilities at open homes and showing customers a property, and they have obligations to identify hazards at properties you are marketing. Then these hazards need to be eliminated, isolated or minimised. What are your notification responsibilities? This is covered in Section 6 of the Trainee Guide. When you have clients in your car or showing people through a property, whether a private viewing or an open home, you're responsible for their health and safety. Your car, an office or viewing at a property are all classified as places of work. Also, your car must have a warrant of fitness and registration, be covered with a commercial vehicle policy, and carry an approved first aid kit to be compliant with this legislation. Please continue to use the Keynotes booklet every time you start an assignment. Keep the rules close by when answering questions, and familiarise yourself with the glossary of terms at the back of each student guide. These videos are not a substitute for the student guides, but are presented as a supplement only.